just got a first question here. I got a bunch of them, so I'm
awesome.
The question, guys.
Let's hear them.
So obviously the wind farms and all that are subject to the harsh weather. How do you protect your drone when they're not in use from the same elements?
So the docking station could be buried beneath the surface floor. So that is that's just a very simple facility thing. So we built a bay, or the bay door that opens and lets the drone go out.
Gotcha.
So when everything's buried beneath underground, it doesn't need to be buried too deep. So
sure.
Yes.
So the entire system's automated. You don't need somebody to come out there and set a drone. And
That is the whole purpose.
Gotcha. Cool. Don't be shy. There you go, Aaron. Congratulations.
Thank you. Aaron Horn with Radiology Protocols and Beat Cancer Today. So I noticed that you 100% are focusing on wind farms in this presentation.
Yes.
And I know that you had talked about ag and ranching and all
right.
that. Have you guys shifted focus, or were you just pitching the windmill idea?
That's an excellent question. So our original intention to coming here is to do agriculture, precision agriculture. So after doing custom discovery, what we found out is that everybody appreciates and understands the benefit of drones, but agriculture as a whole moves very, very slowly. And there's definitely opportunities in there. It's just that we want to enter an industry that has the most immediate pain. We want to find someone who can just say, hey, this is an awesome system, let's adopt it now. So a lot of the things that came out at us from farmers is just that the commodity prices has been dropping really, really low. It's been bad for farmers. So they see this as a nice thing to have, and then something that's not needed. So, and also speaking to farmers has been really, really hard for us as well, and they just don't like to speak. So, does that answer your question?
Kim Harris, and I'm just curious, I'm a novice at all this, right? So you're just providing the drones, and like the utility company or the wind farm owners would have to program those or have the expertise on where does it go to look for everything. And then just question part 2 of that is, as a human, I'm probably able to say, oh, I should maybe go over there. And so how will all that work in terms of who's setting up that protocol or what they're looking at?
Of course. So we provide the drone, we provide this infrastructure, this system that does everything autonomously. So it will be programmed. Where the whole point is to reduce the pain in the industry. So on the second part of that question, when the human goes in and look, see, this needs repaired. But the thing is, it's very difficult for these facilities are in remote regions, and then there's a shortage of technicians. So and there's many facilities that's distributed throughout their territory. So sometimes they just don't have enough manpower to do frequent inspections on all of them. So it's logistically painful for industries to send professionals to inspect their facilities frequently, which is why we built this autonomous solution that inspects the facility frequently. So, as I mentioned, the infrequent inspection leads to untimely discovery of problems because operations and maintenance, the maintenance is a huge thing when it comes to running an industrial facility. So if you can inspect your facility at a daily basis, that would be really good for them because you can pinpoint where the small crack is at and fix it on the spot without having to wait until the next shift is available to send someone out of the middle of nowhere. And these facilities are very huge, and just having a single person just staring at blank wall, people get bored. And then boredom introduces an error, and then so when this entire process is error prone, so no matter how diligent, how much time you spend on it, it's wasted effort. So.
Okay, so just a follow-up. Do you provide the protocol, or does the wind? Do you provide the protocol?
The protocol as
meaning you've got the drones. Are you telling the drones where to go, or does the utility company figure all of that out?
So the utility company tells us what's their requirements and how often they want to inspect it, and then we program the entire thing. Yes.
Oh, hold on.
Mary Seeger. So have you done any return on investment kind of cost? I'm assuming if there's a crack or damage, fixing it early before it gets really bad is probably
Right.
monumental.
Yes.
So have you created those return on investments to present to?
Yes, so it's been recent that we shifted our focus into wind farms, so we had limited data. So from the very limited CDI we've done so far, the inspection, on the inspection side, a single inspection per tower costs as much as $7,000 per inspection per year. And then a small-scale wind farm costs around $80,000 to $300,000 to construct, not the big ones, just the small ones people place in the back of their farm. So, like I said, the inspection, this industry is heavily regulated, so the government requires inspection. So at any time the inspection is not done up to the Fed standards, the fine could run up to $100 million. And then of course, in the most unlikeliest event, even if it's a 1 out of a million chance, if a catastrophe happens, as BP happening in the Gulf, they're still paying out those damages in multi-billion dollars. So inspection is expensive. If things is catastrophic, if the things breaks down to construct a new one, it's around $80,000 to $800,000, and anything goes that it's just a higher number. So our system, currently our construction cost is around anywhere between $6,000 to $10,000. That's because we're buying commercial off-the-shelf parts at retail price. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So it seems like a very
Yes.
good return on investment.
Yes.
Very early.
Yes.
Hey, Troy Miller, thanks for sharing. So when I think about other applications, I think about, the state of Iowa has all these bridges they own, and they need to inspect these things. Is there a limitation right now technologically to having, it sounds like you've got a drone right now that can take one item, like a wind tower, that has the same shape, from wind tower to wind tower to wind tower. Is that more feasible than saying, having drones at every single bridge, or check out every single bridge in the state of Iowa, because all these bridges are all different?
I assume you're asking about automatic image processing. So that's one of the things it's currently not. We thought about that, but it's currently not including our MVP. So it's just the traditional wind turbine inspection is just a technician goes up and visually inspect. So we're just taking snapshots of the facility and then send those images back to the maintenance center, so the technician could just view those visual images themselves. But we thought about the automatic image processing because there's something that the naked eye cannot see. So using infrared, you can really pinpoint where the cracks and hotspot is at, and then later we introduce that kind of automatic image processing. So that is shape independent. It's just a discrepancy in that area. So I hope that answers your questions. Awesome. I know drones is a pretty exciting thing, so I'm sure you have a lot of questions.
So I got another question. Troy stole my question, so I'll go to another one. How do you, I know there's a lot of drone companies out there that seems to be popping up a lot. What other competitors are in your space, or are there anybody that are looking at the inspection route, or what's the landscape look like that?
Excellent questions. So currently there's Cyberhawk is a British company. They have a partnership going on with BP to inspect their power pipelines. So the thing about and there are many other companies like Cyberhawk, and the thing about those companies is that they took the opportunity of the nimble drones and they do the service for those industrial facilities, be it wind farm or bridges. But the thing is, I think that that entire model is defeating the purpose of drones itself. The drone is nothing more than a robot. So what's the point of making a manned robot that does not take a human out of the equation? That's just wasted labor hours. Because as in case of Cyberhawk, they have to drive the entire team down to the facility, be on the spot, out in the middle of nowhere, fly the drones, one person to fly the drone, the other person monitor the feed data. So it's still going to be costly. So the thing is, at the very outset, it might seem that our direct competitor would be the other company that offers these inspection services. But the thing is, our ultimate vision is to build that infrastructure at a known region, an area of interest that allows drones to continuously fly up in the air. So what I'm getting at is ultimately we want to implement this in a metropolis so they can deliver packages. But the thing is, before we do that, we have to build a usage case for such a system. So we're not experts in wind farm inspection or agriculture, but we want to build this usage case so that other people notices us. So we would like them to come to us and say, hey, I have this cool application and I want you to build this infrastructure. So initially, there are direct competitors, but ultimately, we just want to build that fleet automation infrastructure in which those drones companies say, hey, we'd like to partner up with you. We'd like to have our drones to be fitted into your system. And then the wind farm inspectors service will say, hey, we'd like to include your system into our program so we can serve the wind farms better. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, you bet. We have time for one more question before the last final question. David, do you got some thoughts? Some insight?
I think one thing that I just want to point out, like as we were going through the application process for accelerators, drones are really hot. I mean, globally, there's people doing it. There's no less than 2 companies inside this building that are focused on drones. But I think Vinveli, what Vinveli is doing is way more than that, in my opinion. I mean, it's autonomous. It's the infrastructure, the data piece of it. Like what Yuan was just talking about is taking the human element out of it in as many ways as possible. The other comment that I wanted to make is that last night a lot of us were down in Coralville talking with Roby Miller with Telefarm, and his technology is essentially helping in pharmacies replace a really expensive resource, which is a pharmacist. It costs $120,000. There's rural communities that they can't afford to keep that person employed. So one of many things that I think that you're doing is taking the danger out of that, I assume, very expensive resource of the person climbing a 650-foot wind tower.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're getting at.
No question there, sorry.
Any other questions?
Thanks, David.
All right, I got final question here. So obviously there's been some iteration, probably discovered some things that you're trying to overcome. What are some major challenges that you guys are experiencing right now that maybe this community could help you out with or lead you in the right direction?
Of course. So, as you already know, that our customers are corporate enterprises. So, I don't think these people would just go to Google and say, "How do I make my inspection process more easy?" and come to find our web pages. So, the warm introduction we've had through this program is a great starting point, but eventually we're going to have to be on our own. So, to being able to reach out to industrial facility operators such as wind farm, power plant, oil pipeline, or even mining or construction, that would be really helpful. So we want to join to be included in their conversation that have going on internally, trying to improve their operations. So if you could help us to connect with these key people, that would be really helpful.
Awesome, great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And remember to fill out your